mission is to create awareness and empowerment in our communities through coaching and skills development to close the opportunity divide. I would like to start before we go ahead and kick off the session. I would like us to introduce the co-founders of this great community. And I will say that Coach Florence, she will be a co-facilitator of this session today. And she's on, and you can wave to everyone if you have the time. And Coach Divine, we have Coach Chichi, we have Coach Francisca, we have Coach Han, we have Coach Tammy, my humble self, Anthony Okumoya, and we have Coach Godwin, Coach Femi, and also my great DJ for today, Coach Adam. Thank you so much. With this, to kick this session off, I would like to turn it over to Coach Florence to take it away. So, Coach Florence, you have the floor. You're on mute, Coach Florence. All right.
So I'm going to go over and go ahead and take over the screen. All right, today's agenda, we're going to take you through a few virtual tools for collaboration, talk a little about some of the different reasons and types for choosing collaborative tools. And then we're going to actually work you through hands-on on 3 specific tools. There's so many of them. And we're going to do a hands-on session for Miro, for Azure DevOps, and for Jira. And at the end of today's session, we have a takeaway gift for you, and you'll be able to take that with you and be able to start using some of the collaborative tools as soon as the event ends. So what are collaborative tools? With the shift to remote, particularly because of COVID, a lot of organizations had to adapt to being more agile. And now a lot of companies have invested a lot of money in collaborative tools. So if you are somebody that's looking for work in an agile environment or a dev environment and you don't know how to use collaborative tools, it might be at a disadvantage to you. Knowing how to use them will help you to work more productively and efficiently in your teams. And it's really important if you're working with a distributed team. It helps you to be able to work from anywhere in the world and be able to reach your common goal as a team. It enables internal communications. It helps you to improve your knowledge management. It helps you with, you can do creative tasks and of course meetings and reduce general bottlenecks in your team. So what are some ways that collaborative tools are used? They're used for project management. They're used for tracking issues in projects. They are used for brainstorming. They're used for meetings. They're used for creating roadmaps, for diagramming. There's so many different things that you could use collaborative tools for. File sharing, communication. You have a multitude of categories not even listed here. But collaborative tools can also be used to basically spice up like team meetings, team morale, and of course help you with even receiving and giving feedback. On the slide that we have right now, you have some logos of just a few, just a handful of collaborative tools that people use today in their teams. So we have communication tools such as Slack, we have Zoom, we have Teams, which is also collaborative, and Skype. Typically, you're going in for a job interview with a team that's a dev team. They would either be using Slack for communicating, or they'll be using Teams, or they, so you need to be able to have an idea of these tools so that even if you are not yet with a team, but you're looking at interviewing and all, these are the times that you need to know a little about these things. And they are actually things you can actually put on even on your resume. We have creative tools that you can use for meetings and brainstorming with your teams, such as Miro, Mural. Um, the one below the logo just below Skype is Parable. It's very good for doing collaborative meetings with your teams, such as retro, your backlog refinement, etc. Some things to consider when choosing collaborative tools. So in what ways do you usually communicate? Are you communicating with a distributed team, or are you communicating more face to face? What types of projects are your teams currently that you're working with managing? Are they development projects, or are they projects where people have to be in person? So it depends on the type of project it is, will determine the kinds of tools you want to, bring on board to help your team. How many people will be working together at a time? So there are some tools that maybe it's only 100 people that can be there at a time. There are some tools that it's endless. So I'll just give an example of that. So if you were using Zoom, for example, as a team, and you wanted to do a PI planning where you have over 100 people, and you are maybe on a paid plan and it's for only 100 people, it means that that would definitely not be the kind of collaborative tool you should be using if you're going to be having more than 100 people present at certain times of your meetings. Then are you looking for one single tool, or a tool that is going to be able to integrate with other apps? Another example would be if you are using Miro, for example, to do your retro, are you going to at any point need to integrate it, maybe Jira onto it, so that you can bring in issues from your Jira board and be able to work on Miro with your team? So you need to be able to understand these and answer these questions to be able to pick the right collaborative tools. Here are just a lot of um, collaborative tools that we have actually curated on your behalf. And that is what's going to be in the takeaway that we're going to give you at the end of today. So at the end of today, because we cannot go through all these tools, what we have done is to categorize virtual tools into whether they're communication tools or agile project management and tracking tools, file sharing, productivity, creativity tools, and then we have software development tools. And once you get the document, when we give it to you today, you just hover over the hyperlink that we've put here, and each of these 70 different collaborative tools that we have put here for you, you can actually go straight into it and learn more about it. Because of time, what we're going to review today are 3 tools. We're going to review Miro, we're going to review Jira, and we're going to also review Azure DevOps. So if you are working with development teams and you want to be able to track tickets, or you work with teams where you're doing Scrum ceremonies or meetings, you do brainstorming, you design roadmaps, Miro, for example, will be one. And I'm going to kick us off by taking us through Miro. Are you here today and you've never had any reason to use collaborative tools? Probably what you've just used is maybe Zoom for certain meetings, but you've not had to track projects, or maybe do presentations where you had to collaboratively work on slides at the same time, having to use like Google Slides. Well, it's time that you actually get very, very familiar with collaborative tools. According to research done by Hapio, the usage of remote and collaborative tools has really increased. 99% of respondents said that their employees are finding it extremely useful. And every single interview that I was involved in, like last year, they always asked about, like, can you use Miro, or can you use Mural, etc. So these are things that even recruiters, peradventure you're here and you're not even in like an organization yet, recruiters ask for it, and they're things that would also make your resume stand out if you put it on your resume or your LinkedIn. 30% of respondents said that being able to use collaborative tools has helped their employee productivity, and 57% of organizations have also increased their budget for collaborative tools. I'm going to take you through, walk you through a little on Miro. So what is Miro? Miro is a free tool for agile project management. You can use it to manage projects and you can use it to manage teams. It's very flexible. It's a very powerful tool, and you can use it for diagramming. You can use it for mind mapping. It gives you multiple templates to use, and they have a very, very active community called the Miroverse. It's used for creating boards, all types of boards. So you can use it to create boards for your retro. You can use it to create mind maps. You can use it for, and you can create a whole new board and just redesign it from the beginning. But guess what? My favorite part of Miro is the fact that it's actually free forever. It has features that even if you're not doing paid, you're able to use, like templates, for example. You have access to it, so you can actually start practicing, like register an account and start practicing with it today. You can also, it also integrates with certain many third-party apps. I'll quickly just walk you through some features of it, and then we'll go onto a board, and I'll also show you live. So there are many use cases for Miro. You can use it. It has building blocks where it comes with certain templates for things like multiple post-it notes and emojis, different things that you can use to build your board from scratch. That's what we call the building blocks. It has meeting and workshop templates. You can use it for ideation and brainstorming. You can use it for strategy and planning. We recently used it for a design sprint in my organization. We use it for PI planning. We use it. I love to use it for my retros. We use it for backlog refinement. You can use it for research and design, all types of agile workflows. The Miroverse is the community where even you can design something, upload it, and get people to like the particular template you have put, and you get recognized and all that. They put your name there, and people can vote, and it basically on like a leaderboard gets shown to more and more people. The more people that like it and use it, and then Miro, a lot of people are not aware that there's an academy. So there are courses you can do, and then there are certifications that you can do, and they are free. But you can get a badge that you can then put on your LinkedIn. So try and explore and create and share using the Miroverse or the actual Miro dashboard. There are multiple apps that are integrated with Miro. These are some of them. So it's integrated to Google Drive, it's integrated to Jira, like I said, and many other project management tracking tools, apps. The payment plan for Miro, you have the free, and some people may have heard of Mural, but Mural is free for 7 days. A lot of the creative planning collaborative tools have like a free trial for maybe 14 days or for 7 days. But with Miro, you have access to pre-made templates, the integration to the third-party apps, and basic integration. Attention management. Attention management means when people are on the board, excuse me, my throat is dry. When people are on the board, you can actually pull them all to a particular focused location. So I'm going to just quickly take us out into into Miro, so I can show you how it's in real time. So this is my actual Miro board. So when you come onto Miro board, you can see boards that you have already created before. So those are your past boards. So these are boards in my team, and this is not even my this is my private board. The one for my organization, that is the teams. You can decide to, when you create a team, you can decide to limit who has access to your team's board. So you can create a new board from scratch by, clicking on the create a new board, or use any of these templates. And then when you want to use the templates, you can decide to use pre-filled templates. Let's say, for example, I want to do, so I've just picked the template for retro. So it brings us into a new, it's going to bring us into the new workspace, and then it's going to, okay, it's coming. So this is the workspace, and it has already brought in the templates. And this is a template that's already pre-made for us, and it has the different things that you need for a retro. So what should we continue doing? What should we stop doing as a team? I don't know if you can see that. What should we, start afresh? And then what are the action points we're taking out of this retro? On to the left side of the board, you can click on this to bring in more templates. You can add text, you can add additional post-its. And this board, when it comes in, when you pick templates, you can still, customize it as you like, change colors, do whatever you want to do. It's so flexible. You can then also bring in, look for tools or applications that you want to bring in that are not here, if it's not something that your admin is the only one that has the right to work on. At the top left-hand corner here, if you want to go back to where like all the templates and all are, you click on this and it takes you there. So that's how we got back here. I wanted to just quickly show you something. When you are on the board, at the top right-hand corner, you have, like, you can celebrate, you can have, these are reactions. So if we're, for example, in a meeting at, maybe we're in a COP meeting, a committee of practice meeting, and we are trying to vote on something, you can ask people to, if they like something, they can, click on this. This is like celebration. You can, it brings out emojis that are action emojis on the screen. So you can use that. And the reason why these creative tools that are more visual are very good for doing meetings is developers and team members, they typically, especially now that they're long distance, they're not together, they want visual things, they want things that can engage their minds and all that. Okay, so there are so many, and you can also have the timer, put on timer for 10 minutes while they're doing an activity and you're facilitating. You can do voting, whether dot voting, you can use it for planning poker, you can see estimation here. And guess what? You can also do slides from here. So you can do presentation mode and so many other things. But because of time, I'm going to be handing over now to my colleague, Coach Anthony, who's going to then take us through introduction to
Thank you, Florence, Coach Florence, for that beautiful walkthrough of that board. And I'm sure definitely a lot of folks out there have learned, one or two tips and tricks using Miro. So I'll be talking about Jira, but it's just going to be a quick walkthrough. It's not going to be, this is not a training, but I know some of us here have heard of Jira, and some of us practicing Scrum Masters or Agile coaches in our organizations. And like Coach Florence mentioned, we have, virtually a lot of tools, but we just be, talking specifically on Jira. Like you see on the screen, Jira is a software tool that is, widely known for issue tracking and project management capabilities. And I would say, to not waste time, Jira actually provides, you the flexibility of managing and tracking, of scheduling all your agile software development projects. And it actually helps teams to plan and execute, work, be it your stakeholders, scrum masters, product owners, and also actually you actually are able to pull reports to show, the progress you guys are making on that very project. And I would say in Jira, you can create boards like we will keep going, either Scrum teams or Kanban teams can actually leverage Jira as their tracking tool. Next slide. What is Jira Agile methodology? The Agile practices of project management are implemented using the Jira software, using Scrum and Kanban Agile frameworks. In software development, field, Jira is also used to track errors, bugs, defects. And in software and mobile apps, you also use that because Jira is mobile friendly. And Jira plays a major role in, the process of managing and planning, also monitoring the Agile software development practices. Why do we use Jira Agile? Jira plays a pivotal role in a software team operation. And it's mainly used to assign and capture work, work priorities in, the team without any ambiguity. We all know that transparency is key, and inspection and adaptation. And that's, Scrum is based on empiricism. So those are the things. So this tool is actually transparent for us to actually, use in our organizations to track the flow of work. And anybody can come in and, see what progress we are making. And we have several reports that we can actually pull when we're talking about, Jira. We have the burn down chart, the burn up chart, the velocity report, the velocity chart, the cumulative flow diagram, version report, epic report. That's the epic burn down. We have the control chart. We have the just what have you. Understanding Jira, I will say all workflow or all work in Jira is classified as an issue. And I know Coach Adam doesn't like to hear that word issue because he loves Azure DevOps. Well, in Jira, we classify issues, or we classify epics, user stories, stacks, bugs as issues. So when we say issues, pardon us, Coach Adam, is because that's what the tool actually describes as, these things that are highlighted. Why Jira uses the term issue? Jira began as a bug tracking application to help programmers track issues associated with designing and building software. When Jira expanded into project management software, the original term issue was retained. So we did not change it. I'm sorry we didn't do that, Coach Adam. So next slide. Yeah. Next slide, please. All right. In Jira, we have different roles. Be you a Scrum Master, product owner, and keep in mind, it depends on the Jira admin in your organization. It depends on the field that they didn't fit, that they want to actually put on there as users. And as a Scrum Master or an Agile coach, you want to have admin access so that you can give your teams access. It might be developers access, it might be users access, it might be product owner, project manager. It depends on what your teams use. But as a Scrum Master, always see how to, have admin access to the project and also to the board. But we'll because of time, we'll take you through Jira and see how we can, talk on that. Tools that can be integrated with Jira. We have Vimeo, we have Confluence, we have Jira Software, we have Pivotal Tracker, we have Slack, we have Trello, Zapier, Microsoft Teams, we have GitHub, and we have our faithful Azure DevOps. And Jira menu board. When we open Jira, on the menu board, we'll see dashboards, we see projects, we see issues, we see boards, we see portfolio, and some Jiras you will see a plan. So it depends on how your Jira is actually configured in your organization. And so that's what you actually see on the screen. So some organizations, well, where you have that portfolio will have plan. So many things, that organizations just, differ from each other. So you have, access to Jira Confluence, Jira logo is on it, the dashboard issue that I mentioned. So let's go to the other slide. Teams board are what you use to manage your project in Jira. You're talking about the backlog. You want to ensure in your backlog refinement meetings, your sprint planning, your daily scrums, those are the things you want to bring up. In your backlog refinement meeting, you want to build your backlog. You want to ensure that your stories meet the definition already. You want to ensure that stories are well aligned with the epics. So these are the things you look at: creating and executing sprints, you manage releases, you pull up reports. It depends on your organization and the reports that stakeholders will want to demand. So layout, team board filters and swim lanes, you want to ensure that what kind of swim lane. So it depends on the organization. And if they don't have maybe a template, you can actually address that as a coach or a scrum master. More information, types of team boards, multiple boards for the same project. Yes, you can actually create multiple boards for the same project. How? Because you might have a scrum, you might have a scrum team that you're actually working with, and you want to have maybe like a copy of that board as your Kanban board. That is where you actually track, the flow of work. So you might have a copy board, and you might even have two teams that work on the same project, but you want to give them, you want to, actually separate the boards. You want to ensure that everybody, you want to know what each and everyone is doing on the team. Yeah. So Jira workflow, different types of workflow. This is, one of them: plan, execute, report. But some workflow will have, open issues. They will have in progress. They will have, closed issues. They will have what have you? So let's move on. Building a product backlog, creating epics, editing details of epics, link epic to Confluence, viewing epics. Those are what Jira is meant for. You create initial set of user stories. Now, when you create user stories, you want to align them with the appropriate epics. You want to also link, you want to order those stories in the backlog. You want to link dependencies. And how do you do that? It's in Jira. It's how your Jira is configured. It might be things like your story is dependent on, or dependent by, or is blocked by, or blocks this issue. So it depends on, your Jira admin and how the Jira is actually configured. All right, so these are just, these are screenshots of after the, the session. You can have them and, see how you can use this, maybe get a trial version. If you don't know how to use Jira, you can go to this screenshot and just, leverage it and, create a trial version and see how you can, walk through it. So let me go ahead and, share my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen.
It's coming up.
Can you see it? All
Yes.
right.
Yes.
All right. So this is Jira, and this is the interface. We talked about, projects. This is where you have projects. You can create projects in Jira. It's either you have a Kanban team or you have a Scrum team. So for the sake of time, I wouldn't like to delve into creating, any project right now. So where we see create, this is where we have, our Jira project, we have stories. This is an issue type. In Jira, we always say that, issue types are, stories, stacks, epics. So this is the way you want to go in. Maybe you want to actually create an epic. You impute the epic name. You populate the summary. You want to go down, and this is where you want to know if this, epic or story has a dependency. You just want to actually, okay, what's this? Is this dependent on or it depends on? So you want to use the field of blocks or it's blocked by. So it depends on what, the organization deems fit. And if you have, releases, and this is where you can also, create your, releases and align those epics and stories to the release. And this is the assigning, and this is where you can actually assign work to your teams. And you want to select the screen, maybe in your backlog refinement meeting, stories that meet the definition of ready. And you want to ensure that maybe you're in PI planning, you're trying to get a bucket list of, sprint by sprint, or you're planning for, a quarter, and you want to ensure that you plan for multiple sprints. So you want to fix the sprint. Is this sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3? And maybe you have a due date. You want to actually put that on there as well. So we'll go to quick filters here. Quick filters are just, what we can actually, maybe you're in your, daily stand up and you're actually walking the board, and you're trying to, inspect and adapt on the progress your team has made towards the sprint goal. And you're tracking the flow of work. So you can move this story. At times, we all know that some teams are not the same, some teams are not mature. So they will require you to actually, babysit them at times is that the right practice? No, it's not supposed to be. So, and that's where you wear your coaching hat to coach your teams on, updating the board even before, the daily scrum. And for time purposes, we have different reports that we can pull up. We have the burn down chart. We have the velocity chart. We have the burn up chart. A lot of reports. It depends on your organization, but definitely you want to, and this, when you go to Jira, if you have the trial version or you're still aspiring to be a Scrum Master, you can go in and check what the velocity chart is, can go in and check what cumulative flow diagram is. And of course, it depends on your organization, like I say, but the burn-down chart is definitely what I, used to. Is it really perfect for me to use that to judge my team's maturity? I don't think so. But at times you want to, because it tells you the entire story of the sprint. So you want to track how stories are being burned on a daily. So let me go back to the board. All right. So I don't think I have much time, but we can always connect with a lot of tips and tricks, how to create quick filters just for easy, tracking of who is assigned to what work. And also there's at times you don't have fields to actually track, impediments. What I encourage teams, because Jira has where you can flag issues. So when you just add a flag to an issue and say XYZ, you can, add this, and even before daily Scrum, because if you are a Scrum Master, you should watch your stories and ensure that any update that is made on Jira will be sent to your emails. And definitely you will see that there's an impediment. That's even before or even after daily stand-up. So you can, do a follow-up with your team members. Is there any other thing I need to, because of time? Also, just the one last thing I talked about, users, you can give people permissions. When you come to project settings, and you will see in your Jira add users and roles, and you want to give people the required permission they need. It might be team members, it might be developers, it might be, new POs. That is, where you should, go to actually ensure that they have their adequate or appropriate permission. So with this, I think I did a little justice of it, but if you need more, we can talk on the side just because of the time box. And I will, turn it over to Coach Adam to kick us off on Agile DevOps. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you very much for joining our session. I will start to share my screen. Okay, so what is Agile DevOps? So Agile DevOps is a tool that allows us to use one user interface to see all the components for the entire software development lifecycle. So we have the Agile DevOps, we have the Agile boards, which helps us for product management. And we have the Agile repos, the pipeline and activates and the test plans. The Agile team is able to use the boards to track the progress of the work items. And the developers are able to develop the code and leverage DevOps using continuous integration and continuous deployment to connect to their repository and then send it off to the cloud in GitHub and test and ship to the customers. For this session, we're going to focus on Agile boards. So most Agilists tend to spend most times on the Agile boards. So essentially what the Agile board does is that it comprises of the work item section, the board, the backlog, the sprint, queries, and delivery plan. And there are other plugins you can add like retrospectives and other ones that would also enable you to do the Scrum events and other Agile events as well, including using it for PI planning as well and other events. So essentially what differentiates the Agile boards from other tools? It enables visualization, collaboration, and engagement. People can go on, team members can go on, and they can at the same time, in real time, be able to make changes. It's easy to customize the dashboard to show you particular data that you want to visualize. And it has built-in social tools and communication that enable effective teamwork. And it has a generous cloud storage. It also allows you to get notifications for any changes that happens. You get an email, you can monitor the different work items, and the built-in dashboards are extremely very useful to visualize information. And because it's a Microsoft tool, it integrates seamlessly on all Microsoft applications, and that's a huge bonus. So it does have extensions and updates. You can access it by a mobile browser, and the best part of it, you can start for free. Now, so diving into what the board really does is, as I previously mentioned, it's a one UI face where you can see every single thing from what the project management teams are working on, as well as the developers and the testers and the production team. Everything is linked to each of the work items. And so that way, when you work remotely, it can be very essential in terms of every single part of different teams. They understand what is going on with each stage of the development, from idea to development, implementation, and to release. And it's Scrum ready, it's Kanban ready. Whichever team you work with, it's ready to give you the insights that your team needs to flourish. And the dashboards are essential to that. You have different widgets that shows you different things, that information that you need. So say, for instance, you're a Scrum Master, you want to know which items are blocked, which items do not have a user story description, acceptance criteria, which actions, which items are for peer review. The dashboard can tell you all of that, essentially automating your work and making your work easier to do. And so we move on to the next stage, where you can leverage Power BI, because Power BI is a tool that can allow you to see on the portfolio level everything that is being done across the organization, and that can be a very good plus as well. And you also have queries. So with queries, you can do queries to filter. You can save queries as personal queries or shared queries, and that would allow you to see different things as well. So if you wanted to see all your work items, I wanted to see particular items that have been assigned to you or to a particular team member, the queries would give you the advantage of being able to do this. And then we move on to the other sections. So in the board is particularly interesting. It can show you the process of your Scrum team, or in the sense that if your team, for instance, maybe you do designing, you have to do peer review, you have to do code review, you have to do peer review. Every single stage, you can customize your board in a Kanban-like form to show the stages. So this way, you can easily identify your bottlenecks and where you need to improve as a team. So that's another great plus. And we get to the backlog. So in the backlog, the way the backlog is hierarchically, you can see how the work items are related. You can see which features are related to epics and which stories are related to the epic, and all of it is in a very visual way that you can see. You also have columns where you can see the other relationships. So what iteration is it in, who is it assigned to, and so on and so forth. And you go to the sprint. So in the Sprint Hub, you have a couple of other things that come in effect helpful. So the fact is, you can see tasks. So you have your user story, but you can see how the tasks are progressing on that user story in a very visual manner. And then you have for your capacity planning is inbuilt into it. So you can see the capacity of the teams, you can see who is overloaded and who isn't. So that's good as well. And for your Scrum events, maybe whether it's a daily stand-up meeting, you can choose different views in which you want to use. Do you want to see the features? Do you want to view it by features, view it by team members, or view it by the state? It would allow you to do that. So you can spice up your meetings as well. And you're also able to refine the backlogs if you wanted to do refinements or sprint planning using the sprint views as well. And queries, we come back to queries. So query is great because it allows you to visualize a lot of things. And I'm going to jump into the tool itself just so that we have a view of what it is. So before I do that, this is the delivery plan. Essentially what the delivery plan does is it allows you to see, like in a milestone way, by calendar, when your work items are expected to be completed. So this is the overview. This is a dashboard. It will essentially tell you what your project is about. It shows you that a lot of things that it can show you. You can configure this to do API planning. You can configure this to do so many things. And this is the backlog. So in the backlog, you can simply do a drag and drop into where you're doing your sprint plan. If it's a review, backlog refinement meeting, you can tag certain items. It's a very easy way to do your meetings. And then this is a sprint. You can navigate this to where you're in your events. and the queries. So there are different types of queries. You can run a particular query and then you save it. And then next time when you come on, you'll be able to see that query. So the query, you can visualize it in the chart. You can actually also run queries to visualize it on the dashboard as well. It would do that for you. And this is the delivery plan. So the delivery plan will show you, this is a brand new board that was created. So the delivery plan would ideally show you a lot of team members and teams, but then this is what it essentially does. It shows you when it's expected. So you can see that visually. So yes, so I want to give us time for us to be able to engage and ask questions. So I'll pause for now. And just before I do so, one other thing is a retrospective. So all of your meetings, all of the events, you can run it through Azure DevOps and more. You know, the rest of the other team members, they tend to use these other ones. So we'll open it up for questions and answers. And thank you very much.
So guys, any questions? Thank you, Coach Adam, for that beautiful work. Any questions, please?
There are some questions in the chat box, but some of them have been addressed. If there's anyone that maybe you would want more clarity on, you can, this is an opportunity to talk about it. Just also curious, how many of us here have used Miro? How many of us have used Miro? I'm going to do a poll for all three. Okay, there's someone is asking that, Adam, can you create a Kanban board on that? Adam, there's a question there. Can you create a Kanban board on with Azure DevOps?
Yes, yes, you can.
Oh. Yeah, Desmond, I see your question and more clarity on fixed versions. So is this related to Jira or Azure DevOps? So fixed versions are how you create your releases. And we don't want to start sharing the screen anymore, but it depends on your organization and the release they have, right? So you go to your fixed version, you'll see the start and the end date of when that release is going to happen. So what specifically do you want to know as regards fixed version?
So I would say that we can, either use the reaction tools. You can put up your hands, or you can put up the mic so we can hear you.
Desmond, do you want to be specific on your question, please? You want to turn on your mic and say something? And I see Mary. I'm a little confused on what and how you use a dashboard in Jira, please. Okay. So do I need to share my screen? Let me go to, let's see. So I thought a release calendar served that purpose. Please, Desmond, can you speak up, because you're typing and I don't want to,
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you, Desmond. Where are you dialing in from?
From Houston, Texas.
Great. CST. And you know Coach Adam lives in Houston, so you can connect.
Oh, that's great.
So go ahead.
So I'm not used to fixed versions on Jira
Jira?
Stories. So
Okay.
recently I started a new project, and there's a lot of fixed version in the Jira Stories. So I didn't understand what the fixed version is all about. Like then my manager was requesting for reporting those fixed version.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to report fixed versions, right? If you go to reports on Jira, there's actually a report that gives you those releases. Fixed versions are just to set your release dates. So you align those epics and stories to the release. And I feel maybe we can take this offline. Maybe you can connect. Then I can share, my screen and do a one-on-one with you. But for the purpose of this, fixed versions are how you create your releases, the release date.
Can you guys go and come back?
Olaolu, please mute yourself.
All right. So Desmond, so that's what you use fixed versions for. But there's a fixed version report on where you see reports in Jira. You can actually pull that. I think that's what your manager wants, because when you pull that report, it's just like you are clicking on the report and you are able to read what your releases are, those releases that have been made, those that are yet to be made. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, makes sense.
Okay.
So I was just curious because before I used to have a release calendar where I put in all those releases.
Yeah.
So it being on those stories was a little bit confusing. But
yeah. You know, one thing I mentioned when I was talking about Jira, it's all about transparency. All the tools are made for transparency. So your manager wants you to be more agile. So you give him what he needs. Thank you, Desmond, for that question. And I see, let me go back to Mary's question. Dashboard for visualizing metrics. Well, you can create metrics, depends on what you want to see. There are different dashboards, and I don't think you can put your burn down chart there. You can put your sprint health. You can actually, create some Jira query language, create filters for different dashboards. So it depends. So for the purpose of this is not, the space for us to talk about that, but we can, circle back with each other and, discuss more elaborately on that. And I will appreciate connecting with you offline. Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other question?
I've also uploaded the takeaway gift we promised, the leveraging tools. So the resource, when you go in there, you have 70 different collaborative tools that we have helped to collate together. So I hope I hope it's something that if you just click on it, you guys can download onto your devices. The next meeting, yes, Adam, take us through to the end. August, yeah. You want to share your screen back?
Yes, let me do that.
Save the dates.
Okay, so first, I hope everybody is able to see my screen. Yes, okay, awesome. Okay, let me get this out of the way. Okay, so first, we want to ask you all to engage with us. We want to hear from you. We want to know what challenges you're facing out there in the real world working, and we're here to support you. You have questions, you need advice or guidance, reach out to us on LinkedIn or any of our social media handles. And you can go to our website as well. So next event, it's going to be in August 27th. Save the date. We are going to talk about how you can breaking organization silos and building teamwork. And this is critical for us as Agilists to be able to interact with each other and collaborate. So a lot of learnings, a lot of practicality you can put into use. So save the date, register immediately you're getting off this call, look out for our email and register. And going forward, I'm curious, right? Because we're all collaborating virtually. I want to know what are the challenges you're facing with virtual tools. Let's get it off the mic. Tell us about the challenges you're facing with virtual tools, or tell us which is your favorite tool, why, which is the worst tool, and why. Okay, where's that Valley of Courage? Who's going to step up and speak?
Maybe they are having no problem. It's all rosy.
I'll speak.
Go ahead.
Okay. I use Jira a lot and I love it. Okay. But I reuse the same functionality over and over, right? Because that's what I know. And so one of the challenges is learning new ways to use it and expanding the use. And I predominantly do Kanban boards. Because in my organization, if you do sprints, you end up lying. And you fake out you're done, and then you fake out all your reports, and it's just, so Kanban has actually gotten my teams over that hump.
Okay. That's interesting.
So what's your challenge, actually?
The challenge is there's a lot that goes on in Jira and a lot you can use it for, but how to use more of it and let it do more of the heavy lifting for me. Right, so I have a team and my team is very good about putting comments in. We run through the comments, we check our work, but when you're using a Kanban board, the reporting isn't, the set reporting doesn't work as well. There's just not as many reports that are applicable to a Kanban board.
Yeah, for a Kanban board, I think you want to use your control chart for reporting. You also want to leverage the throughput. It depends on how your Jira is configured, your cumulative flow diagram. And also you want to leverage, am I forgetting your cycle time as well? So I think from the control chart, you'll get the lead time and cycle time in Kanban, and some Jiras actually configure the throughput. And the throughput is just like tracking velocity when you're actually leveraging, Scrum. So I don't know if that helps, but for the purpose of this, I would maybe put in my email on the chart, and if you want to connect, then we can, talk more on this, if that sounds good.
Excellent.
Thank you. Any other question?
I want to encourage everyone, right? So we have a time box, but if anybody wants to have a working session and you want to connect with Anthony on Jira, he's very open to this. So he can show you even more functionality that you can use at work, and that will be valuable. So apart from Kanban, he can show you Scrum as well.
All right, I'm going to send
Can you repeat
my
what you
email.
just said? Really here, someone was just saying they can help with additional with Kanban, they can help with Scrum, but I didn't really hear the.
Oh, so what we're saying is, like, if you want to have like a working session where he can give you like a training on how to use Jira, how to leverage Jira to be valuable in your role. He's put his email out there so you can connect with him after the session, and he's going to be able to give you that. He's going to be able to show you that guidance.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. So I think we had someone's hand up. Is
Yeah, Deolu, if I think that was the hand I saw raised.
Yes, coach. I think one of the challenges with some of these tools is because people are working remotely, it starts to seem like they're not giving their full attention, whether it's their home environment or different things. And it's not always easy to insist everybody put on your camera because you always get that feeling like this person just disappeared for a while and you have to try to bring them back. That's one of the challenges I've noticed. Another thing is with most of those tools, getting the team to update the board, you'd update your task, update your stories, put a comment on your stories. I've noticed that sometimes the team looks like they are trying to avoid that. If anybody had any tips to share on that. Thank you.
Coach Francisca, I see you on the call. You want to chime in on that?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Yes.
Basically, the question is that, we're working from home or working remotely. There's a tendency that the team members might not be giving it their full concentration. So sometimes when you require feedback from them, it takes a bit of time to try and repeat what you said, bring them back into the conversation. Another challenge I've had so far with, especially the ALM tools, is getting the team to stay committed to update their story, update their task, put comments on it in that sense. Sometimes I feel like a scrum mom where I have to help you move things on the board.
So for the second question, I think I don't want to say that is normal, but that is what all of us face when in our workplace, because the team members, the engineers, they want to be reminded. They're busy on their development. They're busy doing what they need to do. So for them to come and then move the stories or update the comments, it sounds to them like it's not part of their job. And so you as a team coach, as a scrum master, you are responsible to go further and beyond and ask them to do that. So when I was a scrum master, this was what I used to do. I have a calendar every morning. I'll send a note, please move your stories before our stand-up this morning. And so they'll move them. If they don't move them, then when they come to the stand-up, they're gonna move it when we're all of us standing there and watching them. What I would not do is move for them, because when you start moving the stories, they're gonna leave it for you to keep on moving. As for the team members not participating, one of the key things you can do is, I don't know how your organization is. Some organizations, they don't care whether your video is on or not. But one of the tools which really worked in my organization is everybody must be on video. And they'll call you out if your video is off. And so that way, when you ask a question, you are sure that everybody is there. They may not be attentive, but you see that they're there. Unlike when you are not forced to be on video, you don't know whether they're there or not, even when they're logged in. So maybe for you, or if it were me, I would encourage everybody to be on video and just let them know that, I would like all of you to give me feedback. So I would like all of you to give me your attention. It's just a matter of communicating with them, just making sure that you're all on the same page, get their buy-in, and they'll always know when you have a meeting, this is going to happen, and they'll all show up. I hope I've answered your question.
All right, thank you so much, Coach Francis. That was beautiful. I wouldn't have said it better. To add to that, I would ask Deolu, have you built relationships with your team, with your team members?
Yes, I have worked hard at building relationship, but it just looks like it looks like you say the same thing over and over again. I admit I've tried that option of every morning reaching out to each person. I've tried reaching down to them as a group, but I wish there was a way that I could move away from doing that. But I think it's something I've done. it's something I've tried the options, and I'm going to go back to implementing some of the suggestions from Coach Francisca on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
And also one thing you want to do, it depends on the culture of the organization, right? And talking about, videos, it depends on, the kind of organization you are. You want to work with champions, who are those championing the cause of Agile? We talk about face-to-face communication. How do we collaborate effectively? You want to look for, managers, coaches, those champions that can, support you when you try to make that change. So I think that's where, maybe you should look at if you have not tried it and see if that works.
So I just want to add a little contribution to what everybody has said. It's been fantastic. For the video, sometimes if you say that for retrospective meetings, everybody should show up and turn on their videos, that helps. So everybody knows we attend a retrospective, you need to be engaged. So that helps. If you have to transition them, that can be helpful. The other one is leading by example. So if you show up in every meeting and you're turning up your video, then when you do ask people to turn on their video, it's easier for them to do so because you've been a mirror yourself. And then when it goes also to all the other engagements they have to do, whether it's putting comments on the chats or updating their stories, put it into the team agreements. And then also link it to the Agile Maturity Assessment. So it becomes more like it's tied to the assessment of the team. It's not just one person that is doing all of it. We don't want a hero, we want a team. So everybody has to do it. So you get the buy-in of your leaders, you get the buy-in of the people themselves, because they know that if they don't do it, then it's okay to report it out as part of the measurements that the team is not being growing in that regard. So that can be encouraging as well. Okay, so do we have any other person that wants to tell us about a challenge that you're facing with virtual tools?
Hello, good morning, sir. For my side here, Abib is my name. I'm hoping from Nigeria. Please, I want to ask, what's the meaning of SaaS? S-A-A-S. All these tools you are saying, does it relate to SaaS? Thank you.
So I think you mean software as a service. So the tools in the tool, when we have different categories of these tools. So some of them are used for communication, some of them are used for, let me put up that. Are we able to see my screen share?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look at it, we have communication, we have Agile project management tracking, we have file sharing, software development, collaboration tools. So the thing is, there's just too many tools out there. But with this slide here, you can actually click on each one of them and go find out more about it. So you mentioned SEES. Oh, SAAS. Okay, so I presumed correctly. Yeah, so SaaS is a suite of different types of tools that will fall under that. If you're looking for particular ones, yes, I would say essentially what they are is, previously you'd have to buy a software, install it on your system, and it's running. But now you can do that on the cloud. You don't need to have sometimes you don't even need to, you don't need to have the physical software installed. You can just run it on the internet, on the web app. So that's really the summarized version, what it is. And there are many tools that fall under that. As Agilists, we're life learners. So I encourage you, go to Google and find out more.
I also want to probably chime in here that if you are a Scrum Master, an Agile coach, you're a product manager, you might find out that even though you cannot code, you need to know what your team is working on. So if your team is working on, you might be developing an app and the team has storage in the cloud. You would definitely need to familiarize yourself itself with the particular cloud base that they're using, so you can see that on this collaboration tools, we added like some Amazon Web Services tools. We added GitLab, GitHub, because you need to understand what they are using. You're not just there to, be the person that writes their issues and puts it on Jira. If even things that have to do with security and reliability of the applications you're working on, you need to be aware of them. So a lot of times you find out that you need to know more than just the tools for communication and doing meetings. You need to understand and know the different tools that other people in your team are using. So if you have, I work with designers and I also work with front-end developers. So it means I must be aware about Figma, because the product designers are using Figma. At the same time, the front-end engineers, they're using code. The people doing Figma don't use code, but you need to just be aware of all. And then the solutions architect is in a meeting and talking about things that have to do with storage, S3 buckets, and you need to understand, and so you can't just do maybe CSM or PSM and just, become satisfied with that. You need to get familiar with all the different tools that every member of your team uses. So when they're speaking, you can relate.
Thank you, Coach Florence. And I see Kelly, you have Kelly Gay Brown, you have a question. Do you feel that question has been answered, or you still need more clarity? Kelly? Are you on?
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's answered.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you.
You're welcome. So any more questions, guys?
I don't know whether the last one is a question or a comment.
Okay, I see hands raised. Actually, I think it's a comment.
Oh, okay.
Sandra, you were making a comment, right?
Correct.
Correct. Already.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Chica's iPhone, you want to speak?
Yes, Anthony, this is just a direct question to you. I put it on the chat, but I did not get any response. I don't know. I would like to connect with you, and I was asking, how can I get your?
I put my email address on the chat already. Let me read.
Okay, maybe because it doesn't say Anthony. His email address is where is that? Alec. Can you see?
Yeah, oh, because it does.
It
Okay, I'm just posting it now.
ASO.
I posted it now. Sorry. Mary, you have a question?
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the situation that I have on my team. So I found out that some people don't even know how to use Jira. Like, they don't understand the basics of Jira, and I intend to have like a training session on Jira, but at the same time, not like I really know how to use it. I'm kind of new to it as well. Yeah, that's just what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a good idea or I'm not sure.
You already know how to use the tool, right? You know the basic things that you would leverage the tool for, right?
Yeah.
So teach them that. So as you keep progressing, you keep bringing more, on the table for the team to be more efficient. So just teach them what you have now. It's all about small wins. It's all about measurable growth. Even as agilists, right? We want to ensure that we are, improving continuously. At our retrospective, we want to take 1+ items. We want to ensure that, we improve on those. So take that as, measurable growth for you as well, while you seek knowledge, what you have. By the time you're giving someone, it sticks, because now you're a master of that small, those things, So by the time you keep, updating yourself, and you keep, teaching them, what you think they should know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you. Sounds good.
Yeah, and I wanted to add that don't feel like you don't know. You already know more than them. So any information or any knowledge you give them is just a plus for them. The developers don't need to know all about Jira because they really don't do all those things we do. But what you know is what they just need to know and more. So don't feel like, oh, I don't know, I just know the basics. That's all they need.
Thank you.
I wanted to mention that Sandra, I got all the emails I sent the file to, but yours sent back that it wasn't delivered. So I don't know, maybe because it's your official email.
That could be. I'll let me pull another one and put it out there.
Okay, I can also send you my email address so that I'll send it to you now in chat. So if you send that to me, you send me a mail, I'll then attach it to it.
Excellent. That works.
Chika's iPhone, your hand is still raised. You have another question? Okay. Gotcha. Any other questions?
We'd like to ask that you follow us on social media.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Mary just gave a thumbs up and said this session is timely, and I really appreciate all your efforts. Thanks for joining.
I wanted to add something on the lady who talked about Jira. Another thing also, when you're getting ready to do the coaching, you can always look for, I believe you guys have a coaching team or you have a coaching person, agile coaches. If you have one who you are very close to or friendly with or something, and they know Jira, pull them in your training, or any other Scrum Master you work with. Pull them in your training so they can fill up where you think you have a gap.
Also, typically every organization will have an admin. You have a Jira admin, you have, the person might be in IT or whatever, but they're typically someone that when they sign on to the application, because it's an enterprise one version, so someone is trained for it. So find out in your organization who's the Jira admin. In my company, we call them Jira ninjas. So they've been trained for it. They attended special training, and you're able to pull them, and they can help with training your team.
Okay, and we are 6 minutes to the top of the hour, and Coach Adam, want to turn it over to you to conclude the session.
So I want to give everybody a huge applause for showing up. We know that you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to be here at this time. We appreciate the investment in time and effort that you're investing in yourself. And we hope that, well, we kind of know now that this session was valuable to you, so we're happy. So, we want to just keep supporting our community. So send us an email, tell us maybe you want to hear a topic from us, some challenges. We'll be happy to jump on the Zoom call and support you. So your friendly Agile coaches are around the corner. And we're going to keep the time box. We're going to give you some minutes back, and a huge thank you very much. And do not forget, you are going to be seeing some communication from us about the next event. Until then, take care and stay safe. God bless.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Tell them you can turn on the music.
kill me off. Shoot up, make her only cat, make me drive off. Everything that see me jump and pass. Girl look like Swiss cheese holes all over. What if I happen if I die that day? Ship my music for stuff to the play. You go Piccadilly cost you. I will not get better news about you. I smile and it did ginger my soul. And they see your struggle. And no fevers for you. Life is no easy, my brother. You they find your own, me and they find my own. If I dey keep on my distance, they Abuja. Piccadilly cost you. I will not get better news about you. I smile and it did ginger my soul. And they see your struggle. And no fevers for you. My people just to try to find any way. Grinding just to stay alive every day. To survive, I have to go outside in the rain. I can hide just to minimize all the pain. No one mind to pick with the size in the way. You live a life of how you decide to compete. Anytime when they try to slide in my lane, I shall die, you will stay behind me, I'm in. I wish I knew all these things back in the days. Maybe many things will never happen to me. It's always love from me anytime to buy it. Do it and you got to do my guy, cause I know fevers, no fevers, and I know fevers for you. I'm a no fevers, and I know fevers for you. Life is no easy, my brother. You they find your own, me and they find my own. If I dey keep on my distance, they Abuja. Piccadilly cost you. I will not get better news about you. I smile and it did ginger my soul. Now you see your struggle. Time flies like a thief in the night. We all got a story to write. So darling, jump in the ride. Before the train is gone, let's take a ride. Look in your eye. Don't make them tell you lie. I'm on your side. I saw the taxi chaka to my record in the vida. We gon' get high tonight, baby. We say pass the dirty on the left hand side, yeah. Oh yeah. Muda una yo-yo man, so you never know what tomorrow holds. You see, cause I see the kwenda, so don't hold back. Do what you gotta do. Take some love and give it back. Make your money, get that back. I don't know what you're going through. Yeah. This is your invitation to dance. Salty soul burner boy came through with another one. Yeah. So come on and give love a chance. Yeah. Cause you know the party just begun. Yeah. And we're not getting young, I know. Time flies like a thief in the night. We all got a story to write. So darling, jump in the ride. Before the train is gone, let's take a ride. Look in your eye. Don't make them tell you lie. I'm on your side. And they call you no dancer. I say we can call you some more. Yeah, you leave me no choice, so very soon I go up here for the month. And you had that tight dress on. I saw you last night at the club. Even though I had my dark shades on, I was looking at you all night long. I'm in the middle of the street. How did I ever let you leave? Oh no, why did I drink this Hennessy? Girl, I don't know what come over me. Girl, I just want to make me come body. Don't want to lose it to nobody, no. My God, you know, go be. I don't know what come over me. As you see me, so I know.